Welcome to 50 Shades of Creatives. Hello, Brands Meets Business is a dream come true. And here we have Michael Ellis with us. For those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Shushmita. I am a painter, a graphic designer, a copywriter, a branding coach. 50 Shades of Creative is a compilation of my 12 years of experience. And I am here to make things easier for you, simpler for you, and to make sure you don't make the mistakes I did. And in my 12 years, I have witnessed there are so many misconceptions about branding, about creative services. And there are misconceptions about the business and in all of us. So Brand Meets Business is a series where we break down the most common misconceptions and how it works between a creative professional and a business person. So we have Michael Ellis with us. Thank you very much, Michael, for joining us. And in our first two episodes, if you haven't already, I have attached the link in the description. Go back and watch the first two episodes because we have already discussed branding. Is it beyond logo? And when we say business, it's beyond marketing. So how do we combine? On our last episode, we discussed how website, is it designed or developed? And that's when we found the idea when Michael, being a web developer himself, when he said that there's the series goes copywriting, content writing, design, and web developing. So that is why we are making this episode on content writing. So Michael, would you introduce yourself for the ones who are watching you for the first time?
For the ones that are watching us for the first time, what are you doing? We have other episodes. You should have watched them. You should know us by now. But yeah, I'm Michael Ellis. I'm a business strategist and marketing consultant over here in the United Kingdom. And yeah, we really wanted to bang our heads together, produce some awesome, valuable content for you guys at home, and tell you what it's like being in the industry from two different perspectives.
Yeah, and I have shared this before. I'm sharing this again, that I know Michael from long ago when he was, doing his own thing, and somehow we reached out. And later on, when I was making my website for the first time, I was drowning in ideas, drowning in, stories. Every piece must be a story and every design must be a signature. And then I handed it over to Michael to do some review. What he said literally broke my heart back then, because he was actually talking about my writing, my design, and my website. I'm like, what, man? So that was really mean at the time. But because of that mean review, later on, it helped me realize actually how it should be structured. And when I am doing a website, it should be for the viewers, not for me. So how do we combine that? How do I put myself in someone else's shoe and look at myself from that view? So I'm going to that topic now, Michael, that in our last episode, when you actually broke down the process of process of making website for us, where you mentioned it starts from content writing. However, I have the different experience where, it starts from selecting a theme and then the word count and then the design, because I have worked in agencies. But for the ones who are writers, let's say content writers, how do we realize how to write for a website? Actually, I am asking you from my experience when I was doing my own website, and every piece needed to be a story. I know that there's, I have a brand slogan, so everything needs to end up in that, where I can paint a picture. That was at some point way too creative, and yeah, it was really helpful when you broke it down for me. So would you please explain that if a content writer, somebody claims themselves to be a content writer, or someone who, let's say one of my students they are content writers, and I am teaching them that these are the segments of content. There's search engine optimization, there's meta description, and how do you package your services. But when you are a business person, when you are a web developer, and when you are making websites for sales, when you are making websites for lead generation, what do you expect from a content writer? What we should learn?
You broke up on the question then.
Oh, okay. So I was asking that I have students whom I teach content marketing, and I teach them that content writing, these are the segments. That is copywriting, how to write a title, how do you search engine optimize, how do you write a meta description. So these are, I teach them by segments. But when you are a business owner and you are running an online business and you need to build a website, what do you expect a content writer to do for you, or how do you expect the website content writing to be like? Did I break up again? Are you there? I got disconnected.
You did get disconnected.
Oh, okay. And thank you for staying. So we can start from where we left off. And I was asking you that what do you expect from your content writer, or when you are building a website for lead generation, for sales, what exactly should the content writer have in mind?
Conversions, foremost. The result that the result you are trying to achieve from the visitor. So whether if that's a sales conversion, a lead conversion, indoctrination conversion, as I call it, which is where they read the article that's presented on the screen. Whatever the outcome is what the content writing should be focused on. So if it is a sales conversion, if somebody's after a sales, and it's got the copywriting's got to be it's got to be designed in a way that converts a person into a sale, into a buyer, rather than leaves them with loads of questions or leaves them with loads of missing pieces of the puzzle, and causes them to which then causes them not to buy. If somebody doesn't have all the right information there presented to them in the right way, in the right order, logically on the screen, chances are they're not going to convert. Chances are they're not going to buy.
That makes sense. So what do you think? In our last episode, you described that when you are a photographer, so you need to focus on the graphic images. So that's, if we put writing in the gallery, it would be like if I want to generate sales, then that would be very definitive, and what are the features I am showing so they buy. And if I just want to lead generally like click through, I just want them to engage. At that point, don't you think that we need to be creative, give them some thoughts so they are engaged? What do you think? I am just, this is just a question that oftentimes I have in my head, that
so creative thinking and thoughts inside a copy work well in any environment, whether if that's a sales copy, a high converting copy, or whether if it's just general content writing for engagement. It all has its place inside there, and it all works inside there. If you can get the mind thinking, and you can get the mind ticking over and go, oh, that's a new concept, and that's going to help you anyway.
That makes sense. And when you say, let's say, search engine optimization, and I have learned this, I had some idea, very template ideas, and from you I learned that actually search engine has so many categories that that's 5%, and that's actually the maximum. For the content writers who are also expert in search engine optimization terms and tags, or they do the analytics, would you please explain the search engine optimization criteria of writing for us?
So it needs to be structured in a way where Google can read it and other search engines can read it. So there's a hierarchy in your writing. And as long as if you follow the hierarchy in the writing, then Google can read it. The actual content inside it needs to be written in a way that a human can read it these days. Because of the Google search engine's AI, and that is the most predominant search engine there is out there. Because of its AI, we no longer can keyword stuff. We can't do any black hat stuff. We've got to make it readable, because Google goes through your content and it assesses it, and if it's not readable, then it'll lower the ranking of that site or that page. So it's got to be readable. It's got to have flow in it. It's got to have fluency. Unfortunately, copy with a lot of grammatical errors in it gets marked down these days. Copy with quite a lot of spelling mistakes also gets marked down these days. So it needs to be written professionally. I'm not saying by a professional, but I'm saying you're going to need to proofread your work these days, and make sure it is correct, because if it doesn't flow according to Google, it's going to get knocked down. So there's that. The hierarchy is very simple. You have your tags and your titles set up correctly, and it just breaks the content down into different sections, which gives Google hints of what sections what. You have to form keywords, but like I said, you don't want to stuff your article with too many keywords, making it hard to read. It needs to have a flow within the keywords. So keywords, for instance, if you was a dog trainer, for instance, and you was writing a blog post for a dog trainer or a sales copy for a dog trainer, you would have dog trainer in Washington, DC. I just got with that. That's a long tail keyword optimization strategy, because you're putting multiple keywords together. So then when somebody searches up dog trainer in Washington, DC, hopefully you will land on the first page, if you follow all the ranking strategies correctly. The keywords need to be placed out throughout the copy. So it can't be just all centralized in one location, because that won't work. The keyword needs to be throughout the whole copy, preferably within the title of the article, blog, sales page, whatever, and definitely within the first 3 sentences, and then scattered out throughout the whole article. But like I said, you've got to make sure it fits with the content and it's readable.
That makes sense. That's actually very helpful when you know a template and what exactly is you are giving away to your readers. And oftentimes I think of, it may sound weird, but I think in terms of dating profile, like when I am creating a dating profile, I am branding myself as, someone dateable, and I want to go out with someone. So at that point, when I'm putting up my details, so first they see my name, what are the things they see after my name? For those of you who are watching, please be careful about what you write after your name. This is a disclaimer and I'm requesting you. So after my name, I want to, tell them, yeah, I want to hang out, and I go out on a walk oftentimes, and I want friends nearby. I am passionate about art, and I always want to make new friends. So it kind of puts out an extrovert personality. Not necessarily that's the criteria, but people who are actually willing to have an, offline hangout. So they will be happy to see this profile. And they are actually my target audience, I would say, like in terms of dating profile, however you may perceive that. And when I'm passionate about art, they already take a hint that, yeah, we need to talk about that, or I am passionate about this. So we already have items of conversation. So when you are writing a website, think in terms of the audience. What are the messages you want to send to your audience? Why exactly are they going to buy from you? And why exactly are they going to be reading your blogs, or will they scroll? Not everyone is your target audience, but you need to read their mind, the ones who are your ideal customers. So if you're trying to please everyone, like let's say for at the beginning, I thought branding is for everyone. I mean, we are constantly branding ourselves, but guess what? Not everyone is aware, and not everyone is putting necessary amount of emphasis. There are certain strategy that people need to go through before they consider branding. And that's what it works. That's how it works. So when I would say, like when you are putting the meta description that people read, or when you are summarizing, even on your website, the first 5 lines or the first 3 lines, depending on the platform you are using, either website or ClickFunnels, there are a few lines that's visible, and then it goes to read more. Nobody wants to click read more unless the meta description is like, who I want to date this website or something like it. So put your images and everything accordingly. And of course, in our next episode, we will discuss graphic design, like Michael said in our last episode. So I have one question for you, Michael, that I am curious. I know a bit, but I think everybody should know about it. Since you are an entrepreneur and you make your own websites, you put up the items yourself, you write it yourself, you make the design yourself, and you make the images yourself. When you write, like you don't offer yourself as quite a professional copywriter or a content writer. That's not your highlight, I would say. So when you build up a website yourself, let's say there are entrepreneurs who are watching this right now, how do you put up the words? And before you answer, why I'm asking you this, oftentimes I come across people who have put up their Facebook pages, their websites, they're looking for a creative writer. However, what they have written, maybe they have taken a template. There are free templates available everywhere, or offering templates. So they have taken up a template and they have put up a very prominent website, a very readable one and easily understandable. This is one thing that often bugs them, that they need a creative writer to make this site creative. And that is not necessary. I know that, but I want your help to make them understand that you do it yourself. How do you do it? And is it really necessary to look for a creative writer when you have a prominent template? And I would say readable, the features that you said, it's simple. Anyone who reads it will understand. Isn't that enough?
So, going back to your date analogy.
Thank you. Let's make it a trend.
Yeah, let's make it a trend. So online dating is a massive thing these days. It's huge. It's no longer a taboo. It's what it used to be. But so now there's millions and millions and millions of dating profiles on there.
Yeah.
How many actually catch your attention and actually make you want to look at that dating profile from just a copy only?
Oh,
I'm gonna have a guess. Not many.
Not many. But very precise. Some.
That tells you.
Yeah.
That tells you that a lot of people don't know how to write.
No.
They don't know how to write about themselves. They're not going to know how to write about the business. it's not the so yeah, using templates gives them a starting point and gives them. Have you gone? Have you disappeared? Where have you gone? And we're back.
Yeah, I am here. I was just checking my connection and I turned up my video. Okay, now you're, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
I see. So as I was saying, it's not many people know how to write about themselves. Not many people are going to know how to write about the business either. So using templates gives them a starting point, helps them in the right direction, gets them thinking about how they should be writing about the business, and allows them to do, I would say, around about 75% to 80% of the work themselves via using templates and guides. So do I think it's necessary for you to have a copywriter if you're using templates and guides and you understand how to use them templates and guides? Not to start with. Do I think it's necessary later down the line once you're making money? Yes, because that extra 25% or 20% is probably the most profitable part of the percentage, the one that's going to make you the most amount of money. Knowing 50% of how to write copy is not going to get you anywhere, but using templates and guides to get you to 75% will get you at least started. And I'm covering my camera a little bit there.
Okay, so yeah, that's actually very helpful when you break it down like that. So when they're just getting started, and like, when you said in the dating analogy, like I said, what I always think about in terms of website, in terms of anything, my bio or my clients, what are the set of words people need to read right after their name? And you are familiar with my brand acceleration program, right? So I am always inspiring people to think in terms of human. So right now I'm looking at you, human eyes are the first thing that draws our attention. So that should be your logo. And when you speak, what? I missed it. Can you say?
I said, don't look at my eyes.
Well, okay. So let's say not your eyes. I am covering your eyes right now. So you look at my eyes. So that's my logo. That's in terms, this is how you figure out the priority, the placement. So words, when you are writing, it's the same. When somebody talks, some people are, we want to talk to them forever and ever and ever. It's because the words that come out of their mouth really triggers the pleasure center of our brain. So when you are writing for a website, first of all, don't go all creative and hyped up. Like this is the ending story of your life, the happiest one. No, it doesn't work like that. However, the ones who are reading your website, make sure that they are reading the necessary information and the most helpful information to them in the first segment. I would say that sometimes there's character limit, like 300 words, sometimes there's 5 lines, depending on the theme. But try to use first 5 lines, no more than 5 lines, to demonstrate why exactly, like I knocked on your door and I need to know what's in this house and why should I be here or why should I not be here? We should know that. And again, I would like to precisely ask you, Michael, one more time, that when you write, how do you write for your website?
How do I write for my website?
Yeah.
I follow a structure and a plan. I don't have that plan or structure like anywhere on the screen anymore. It's just instilled into me, from doing it over and over and over again. But I follow a structure and a plan, and that's how I get that's how I get the results that I get, if you like. That's how I
and you do get results. I would say, for those of you who don't know Michael, he's like the cool guy. Like, he's cool, strategic, and he gets results. So I vouch for that. I am. Could you like share a few tips with us? Because I am still a little bit in foggy area when it comes to, structural website and creative website. So when somebody comes to me, I ask them thousands of questions and then we go through drafts. But if you give us a little bit of hint, it may save us a lot of time and make it efficient when we write.
Yeah, so it depends. First of all, you need to hook. You need to hook them in. You need to grab that person's attention who's reading that for the first time. You got to treat them like they're 10 years old, which sounds daft, but if the reading level's any older than 10, then you're cutting off a lot of people. I'm not saying the world's full of people that can only read up to the age of 10. What I'm saying is, if your writing is simplistic in its form and not overly complicated, then it's going to be easily read by people who have not necessarily native English language.
Wow.
People, they would struggle to read English that if they're not native. So that helps them.
Yeah.
It makes it easier to understand. It makes it flow a lot better if you write your content that's readable by a 10-year-old, essentially.
Yeah.
It makes it easier to understand, makes them know exactly what you want them to do or what you don't want them to do. If you should be able to hand your website or your web page over to a 10-year-old, they should be able to read it and know exactly what it is you're selling or what it is you want them to do or what it is you're talking about. If a 10-year-old doesn't know that, then you've got a problem.
Wow.
In terms of reading, the reading level of the reading difficulty levels too high. And you'd be surprised how much of a big difference that makes. It makes a huge difference. So there's the hook, there's the grab the attention, there's the keep the attention throughout the copy. There's the you need to spark interest within your reader, and it needs to be simple enough for a 10-year-old to read it.
Yeah.
Which means no overuse of long, complicated words that are not necessary for the content of the copy.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Michael, what you said. And also, it for those of you, this is a side note, writing your dating profile. We don't like to look at dictionary at every sentence about you. So we just, move on. Keep it in mind whenever you are writing and whatever you are writing, that you don't want them to check on dictionary. Nobody wants to do that. Thank you, Michael. That was actually a brilliant tip to think in terms of a 10 years old. And I didn't really pay attention that people all around the world are going to read it. So if it is very complicated, it will be difficult for them. So thank you very much, Michael. It was very helpful, even for me. So yeah.
So what I was going to say then is that although there is websites in other languages for people who don't speak English or don't read English,
Yeah.
what you'll find is the majority of websites out there are English. And yeah, it's just a fact of life. Let's be honest, it is a fact of life. And if you want to attract as much of an audience as possible, why wouldn't you write it in a reading level that's easily read by the majority of people that have some level of form of understanding of English?
Yeah. Can I share one of my experience? Because now when you say in terms of simple languages, I want to share one of my observations. So you all know that I'm a reader, right? Like I read. So those of you who are readers, you will understand. I know Michael is a reader. So when you will say there are classic writers or writers who like to input metaphor, and they have this amazing way of demonstrating small little things. Let's say it's 5 o'clock in my analog watch, and when there's one writer, or the very creative ones, the thoughtful writers, they write like the hand of the clock is trying to touch 5. However, one hand is at 12. Somehow it makes it difficult to touch the right moment. So it was a collection of all the tension the characters are feeling, and all the tensions are at 5 o'clock, which means that this time, this is a very decisive time. So when I read things like that, I think we all, when we read things like that, we go back to the clock, we observe the clock, and we think, wow, this is such a human moment, and how much time is making a difference in our lives. However, there's another school of writers who are very, fast paced, and they will just say it's 5 o'clock, and he was supposed to call, but he didn't. So I look at the watch again with the hope that it's not quite 5 o'clock, but it is 5 o'clock. So now with very simple terms, we get that tension that, okay, so did he call? Did he not call? What happened next? So one is locking you up in the moment, and one is letting you flow ahead of time. When you mentioned about the simplicity, I would say the simple school writers, they get like massive readers, because anyone can read it, and there's a criteria, like you cannot stop reading. Like you are reading, you are reading, you are reading, you are eating, maybe you are falling asleep, the next morning you are starting off. You just cannot stop. That's the magic of this, this flowing state. And when it is very serious, you want to take a break, like, that was a lot of tension. Let me just clear my head for a while. When you are writing for your audience, always follow this school of writing. When, what next, what next, what next? So they want to know what next, what next, what next. I think if those of you who are readers, you should, you all understand these schools and what you enjoy most. You all can verify this for yourself, that the simple words and simple sentences, when you already know what's in this sentence and the next sentence and the next sentence, and you have read the book, apply that to your website, I would say. And thank you, Michael, for even I couldn't put it better myself. So any last words? I just want to listen more. That's why I'm asking.
You just want to listen more. Last words is, there needs to be direction in your writing. So it needs to go somewhere, whether that's to a question at the bottom of the page where you're asking for engagement, whether that's for them to head over to your lead magnet to get a lead magnet, to talk to them to your lead magnet, whether that's for the sale, if it's a sales page, or whether if that's whatever the outcome of the result is, as long as if your content writing is flowing in the direction that leads to that, then that's better, or that's good. Now, depending on the level of quality of what you want the result to be, depends on where you would place said call to action. So if you're looking for, if you're not interested, if you haven't got a need for absolutely high quality leads, then having your call to action at the top of the page is perfectly fine. If you need a higher level of quality of leads to come through, say it's more of a personalized service, and therefore you're booking people on maybe sales calls and consultations and stuff like that. You don't want people to waste your time so much. And the call to action being at the bottom of the page after they've read the whole page is a lot better.
Wow. That's
so the placement of the call to action can actually help you in what you want to try to achieve. If you're selling a low-end product, let's say like $10, $20 in price or something like that, it's a kind of entry barrier into your world first. Then having that call to action near the top is probably better, because that's where you'll get most visibility in that call to action.
wow. That's like, wow, I am speechless. So for those of you who are watching this right now, there are, like Michael mentioned, that how are you hooking them? There are some wording, there are some words, there are some sentence structures that actually triggers the mind of the reader. So in my channel, you will see copywriting tips, copywriting hacks. Go watch those videos. I will attach the link in my description. And how Michael demonstrated, if you want to know more about him, go to michaelellisonline.com. Again, this link is also attached in my description. So I don't want to end this episode, but we have to. Luckily, we have more episodes to come. And in our next episodes, we will just, like you broke down, I want to know about design. How do you define design? Because, you know, for me, it's like never ending. If I get in, it never ends. And the result is not quite so efficient. So yeah, keep watching. Next week, we are going to see you with our episode graphics designed or developed. Thank you, Michael, for being with us. I think it's just getting better and better. I am having a hard time to finish. So yeah, you just say goodbye.
Okay, yeah. Just like Nur said, we'll be back next week and we'll cover graphics design. Graphics design, I think I'm okay with graphics design.
And in our first episode, you mentioned that the most common misconception about marketing expert is you do graphic design. So yeah, it's very close to us. And I have been asked, yeah, you do Facebook ads? I said, yes. And they said, can you boost my ad? I said, no, I do design. So somehow graphic design and marketing are so much. So yeah, we will explore it in our next episode. And until then, thank you very much for being with us. And yeah, go back to the first 2 episodes if you haven't already. All the links are attached in my description. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any updates from 50 Shades of Creative. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Bye. I will see you very soon.
See ya.